So hello guys and welcome back as we are going to be getting into our second round 2 matchup of the night. We just witnessed Team No Name be able to dismantle Mr. Swabby there, but it was a great effort from them nonetheless. Great game there, especially on RT Dream. Good bailouts here and there, especially from Mr. Lasty. And we can really see that many of our players who have been improving and have been grinding are trying to get better and better, especially from the side of the Novus Cup. Now, this one, it's going to be even more interesting because we are going to have Mr. Commissioner on the field. It's DLS, Mizzle, and Paul versus Semper and Steelheart. Now, remembering Semper and Steelheart, I've also seen these names, especially Semper, who has gotten better and better as well. So will we see the same case like Mr. Lasty where he's going to be making a big play? We'll find out though as we are going to be getting into another best of 3 set. First things first though, map going to be in order will be Heavy Artillery LE. Haven't seen this map pick as of yet before, and I hope to actually get into this one in just a bit. It's going to be pretty interesting though, because when you see a map like Heavy Artillery, then you already know that many possibilities can actually happen in this set. 3 Terrans though, 1 Zerg. A double duo Terran, so you're gonna know it's gonna be raining Marines from everywhere. But on a map like this, there's a bunch of high ground, there's a bunch of ways to play rather, to work on it. And when you look at the basis of our 2 players respectively, you already know that they are going to be able to work together as one. They're just sitting right beside each other, neighbors till the end on the map like this. But right now, it's time for us to get started. DLS, Mizzle, and Paul on one side, Semper and Steelheart on the other. Will the 2 Terrans be able to just outmaneuver the opposition, or will the Terran and Zerg coalition be able to make it happen? Let's find out as we get into our second match and in our first map for this one. So hello guys, and here we are again. Another game, another bout, another SCPH Duel Meets number 2 round 2 broadcast. Introducing first though, on the bottom left side of Heavy Artillery LE. It's not a ringing sound you hear. It's Team Tinnitus, whatever you want to call it. The green Terran, that is DLS Mizzle. And the blue Terran, that is Paul. Their opponents though on the top right side. If this is going to be Team Tinnitus on the other one, this is going to be Team Cube on the other. Our red Zerg, Steelheart, and our purple Terran, Semper. No Protoss in this matchup, and it's now time to see who's going to be able to take the win here. As we mentioned before, though, 2 Terrans versus a Terran and Zerg lineup. And we'll see what kind of setup DLS, Mizzle, and Paul can take. Now, one possibility that Mizzle and Paul can easily do is for one to go bio and one to go for mech. Because be able to round up the whole Terran tech tree, or you can just go rush BCs together. But more or less, we're going to be seeing a lot of viable action from these 2 Terrans at the very minimum. Semper might be doing the same. Marine Marauder, medevac composition with siege tanks could be huge indeed. And Steelheart though on the Zerg going to be changing it up in terms of pace. He's going to go for the expansion, which is safer on the other side. He just wants to make sure that he's going to get that second base up and running. Usually you'd want the Zerg to be the one going onto the outskirts instead. And it wouldn't be surprising if he actually went for the 2 hatcheries down below and allowed Semper to take one there. But Steelheart can be going for the safer expansion for now. Priority for him is to expand, of course, against 2 Terrans on the other side. Better safe than sorry in a case like this. Get the better army composition and the army numbers that he's been looking for. Right now, Heavy Artillery gonna be keeping us with the sounds of guns, with the sounds of Terrans and Zergs looking to duel, and I cannot wait. In the background though, as I said before, DLS Mizzle. This man, Mr. Commissioner himself, already has been one of the biggest people in the SCPH community, setting up the tournaments and really just enjoying his time with the friendos among us. Still though, in the meantime, for Paul, you should know his story. Paul, great player in his own right within that Masters bracket, a runner-up spot in the very first quarantine, and amazing plays with his race. Still though, can the up-and-comer Steelheart and Semper be able to show their full potential here and now? As we are going to be getting into the harassment here from Paul. He's scouting on the round, trying to see what's going on. Semper though will be looking to answer back. Queen though pops out. Perfect timing here for Steelheart. And there we go with the shots. Getting rid of the jetpack there. Immediately though, Mizzle gonna be going for the 1-1-1 setup. He wants to go for the starport early on. He's the one getting the expansion in behind. And for the time being, Paul will be going in for heavy racks instead. Two of them set up. Starport gonna be into play as well. More on the tech side though for Paul and Mizzle. So the attack isn't gonna be as early as you would expect. Semper in the meantime, he's looking to go for the expansion down below. He's also getting the double marine pump out from the reactor barracks, and he is going to be getting a tech lab here from factory. Can be used to go for siege tanks if ever, and there you have it. Semper though only getting the starport right now. Seems like for Paul and DLS Mizzle, they're doing a great job on their macro. But the question is, how will they turn out in the fights themselves? Mizzle though moving on around, trying to see what's going on. And this queen almost gets the shot there. One more to go. Can the drone actually get that takedown? We see the bomb though. And Mizzle gonna be able to get scot-free for now. He's hunting on around for SCVs instead. This is gonna be a good one if he gets rid of the one building the barracks. And down it goes. Reaper though in position. And Mizzle a little too long into the stay point there. And down he goes. Interesting enough, there is an arsenal of weapons there that sadly no one can use, but Mizzle right now is still keeping on the pressure. He's bringing in the Hellions, but the siege tank is there, and as soon as he tries to get out, he gets shot one more time. Doesn't want to get close to the siege tank apparently, so he will take a loss there and move on. Still though, from what we've seen from Mizzle and Paul in their careers, in their history, great macro players, and they can really get as many buildings and bases as they would like. In the case though, Refinery right now being built. Paul taking the natural, the aggressive one instead. In case in point, scan right now to even get a bit more of that information. Steelheart though, still keeping on, has a spine crawler for safety. But with how Semper has set up, there's just no way to get in so far. These siege tanks are going to be such a great unit to get in the way every single time. Those shock cannons bring in the AoE damage. Paul and Mizzle will be looking to build more and more on the unit tab instead. Medivacs though in play here for Paul, looking for a drop or two. And Steelheart, is he really gonna go for an expansion all the way here on the southeast side of the map? Interesting call here for Steelheart, as here comes Paul with the afterburners afoot. Finally, we see the Medivacs flying up in the air, fully loaded with Marines to drop on down. And the question is though, what will he do with these? Trying to fly off though into the stratosphere, as it's still a lot of scouting for Steelheart. Great thing about the Overlords is they fly around. They are good wards up in the air. And in a map like Heavy Artillery, you do want to try to go for the circumnavigation. You want to go to the flanks just in case you find an angle. But for now, there's a Viking flying on around as well. Semper trying to be as defensive as possible. Steelheart now with the Mutals in tow. And Paul and Mizzle actually ready for this, because this is 10 Mutas flying their way. Two handfuls of these flyers in position. Spinecrawler though trying to get the set up, but this is just him trying to root on down. Already getting shot along the way. There he's Viking though. And here comes a BC from Mizzle as well. Simon attack right now to really work together as one. And it seems like for Paul, he's started stepping here on the right hand side, trying to cripple the Red Zerg so far. Semper though in position to go for the counter. And here comes the Mutas from Steel up instead to try and defend. This is going to be a lot of damage because Paul cannot disengage from this one. Mutas can go for the chase. The Marines will go down. The BC will fall as well. And even if one base of Steelheart will take some damage, it's still the forces of Mizzle and Paul taking their demise. Great attempt though from Mizzle and Paul, as we said before, working together hand in hand to try and get that takedown there, but it's just not gonna work. And right now they're busy on the back row again. They're busy trying to set up these buildings, and they're not gonna have enough units to defend so far. Only Mizzle with over 20 units right now, but here comes the Mutas flying on in. Hellion's not gonna be able to do anything against this. There's a step back though, and one Muta will go down. Steelheart gonna lose another one there. Good micro for Paul to actually go for the hunt instead. But for now, it's still Steelheart waiting on the outskirts. Semper gonna be there as well. And the great thing about a setup like this is we can see Steelheart scout around for his teammate, and Semper going for the bombardment instead. Map like this though, the ramp onto the forward side gonna get blocked up by minerals, and no one is there to be able to harvest that so far. And Steelheart deciding to go over the left side instead. And already Paul making a big blockade with the orbital command being the block in the way. Great wall of supply depots also sent on up. The Paul right now going to be flying it on out. He wants to make sure he has an opportunity to actually go for it, but this does open up the floodgates for Steelheart to go onto the natural instead. Missile turret trying to get DPS. Marine's going to be in behind. Paul going to get supply box. It's a great wall of supply depots. Was really keeping him hungry and really keeping him foolish there. Still now, this is going to be DLS Missile with the BCs on the right-hand side. And Paul right now with a step back on in. Tactical Arpdots trying to get away, and Missile right now trying to make this one work. It's all about the harassment though on the siege tank. The Mutas are there. The Marines also shooting on up. And there we go with another tactical arc from Missile to bring it back to the fold. Overall though, with Paul and Missile fortified Dictus, they are able to defend. But right now, this is going to be Steelheart looking to expand even further. He's gone to third base all the way on the southeast side. Paul right now with Medivacs, but not enough Marines to really use it with. And the biggest problem right now for Paul is he is supply blocked along the way. What can he even do by this point? He needs to try and get some more food in, and he needs to try and figure out what's going to be the plan. Missile, though, heavily committing onto the mech side, onto the BC side, and he just wants to go for as many capital ships as possible. Valkyries right now dealing with the siege tank. Hellions, no fear there, decide to get into position and get rid of that lone siege tank. But Semper right now still waiting on, and Steelheart is there to fly on the ground. Composition though gonna be in favor of Steelheart and Semper here because they have the numbers and they are going for the harassment. While we have Missile trying to kite with the BCs, it's still Semper leading the front line, and Paul a little too late to set up the siege tanks, and they will fall immediately. Now this lone BC all alone. The Mutas trying to go for the focus wire, and Semper and Steelheart just going for the SNS connection to connect themselves and count out that BC there. This is looking really good for Semper and Steelheart. They are knocking on the doorsteps of the two Terrans here now. And for now, this is going to be Semper also leading the charge with the Viking in position. Can Missile and Paul do anything by this point? They're trying to go for the upgrades as much as possible. They're trying to reinforce, and Missile even pumping out 3 PCs along the way. But it might not be enough against all of this. He's trying to connect the siege tanks, bringing in the hurts. And here we go with a liftoff again. As I say that, Missile right now gonna be getting closer and closer to getting more and more of these BCs into play. And the longer this game drags on and the better upgrades Missile has, the best chance he has at really turning the sides in favor of Team Tinnitus. But no, it's Missile losing it on the BC. More and more mutants right now. They're not, Steelheart not even bothering to go for the Corruptors. He wants to go for the speed. He wants to go for the harassment. And he's trying to go for it against Missile. The SCPs are forced to go for the repairs, but this is really crippling Paul and his economy. He's running out of gas to use. He's only on a one-base setup right now, and this is just going to be him trying to get on the way. Missile, though, still trying to hold the line, trying to defend, but the mutants are there yet again. And the tactical warp to disengage, but the chase is on. These mutants refusing to lose, and the fact of the matter is the Medivac keeping the heals up. Just the synergy right now of having Medivacs alongside Zerg Unix, keeping them topped up and allowing them to fight a little longer than they should in a setup like this. Here we go though with Missile right now flying on in yet again. The siege tanks onto the low ground, and here comes the reinforcement right now from Semper, but it's Paul saying, okay, Sayonara trying to get the hell away with the Medivacs. Problem right now for Paul though is he has nothing to use with Medivacs with DLS Missile. He's playing the BCs. They can't be helped whatsoever by the band-aids, and now the Mutas just keeping topped up though by the Medivacs of Semper instead, getting the damage where it counts, getting the hurts, and allowing them to cripple and maybe even take down Missile and Paul. A great attempt from Missile and Paul. You gotta give them props for going for the attack on Steelheart's main base, but it just wasn't enough. Semper, Steelheart ready for it, and they just kept up the pressure. They went for the better build, and they are just really showing the synchronized setup between the Terran and the Zerg. Missile and Paul, they decided to go in 2 different directions, and while I mentioned one can go for the bio, one can go for the mech, sometimes you just want to double down in a case like this, because Steelheart is really just bringing the hurt with the Mutas. He's just cleaning up like hell. He's just getting as many of these bats in position, and GG is called. That is going to be Team Tinnitus backing on now, tapping out from this game, and Semper and Steelheart will get the first win in this set. What's an upset, honestly. Great game number 1, and Semper and Steelheart will take it there. You don't expect Paul as well as DLS Missile, 2 great Terrans who know exactly what they're doing, to be put on the back foot like that, but no, just didn't happen the way that they really expected. Semper, Steelheart in position to work together, and they take heavy artillery LE. Mutas and Medivacs, that's a scary, scary comp, isn't it? It's so very potent. It keeps those things alive, rapid regeneration, and so very helpful if they do get on the way. And that is that. That's game number 1. And Heavy Artillery will go in favor of Team Cube. So there you go, guys. Confirmation of our results. It is Heavy Artillery LE 1 out by Semper and Steelheart. Team Cube right now just only one dimension away from moving on to the semifinals. And our second map gonna be Rhoskallian LE. We've seen this map quite a lot in our set. It's been more or less a comfort map pick for many in the dual meet scene. But now it's time to see if DLS, Mizzle, and Paul can actually tie it up and try to go for a bit of the comeback. Can they force out a map number 3? Or will Semper and Steelheart move on for another 2-0 and make it to the semifinals? It's now time to see who is going to win here on Rhoskallian. It's time for us to get started in the game, and let's move on into this match. So welcome back, guys, and this best of 3 already getting up points on the board. Semper and Steelheart taking the victory a while ago on Heavy Artillery LE, but now it's time to move into a fresh new map and a fresh new look. Introducing first, it is going to be Team Tinnitus on the top side of the map. Our green Terran, DLS Mizzle, and our blue Terran, Paul. So DLS Mizzle and Polka Dodge together yet again. Gotta say, the skill level between these two players slowly but surely just getting closer and closer as Mizzle has been trying to improve his game even more so over the past few months. Paul, in the meantime, always been a stalwart of the scene, always been one of the best, especially on the Terran side. But for now, they are going to be put to the test against, well, these scrappy underdogs on the other side of the map. Team Cube, consisting of our red Zerg, Steelheart, and our purple Terran, Semper. As we said before, though, just a bit of a debut here on the Novice Cup side, showing up in the community and doing the best they can to really impress and improve. And with a game like that, you already see that Semper and Steelheart have this sort of chemistry going on between them. The Medivacs and the Mutas, man, I still can't get over that because just how tanky the Mutas became with the extra healing from the Medivacs themselves. That's why you want to pair things up. And it seems like for Mizzle and Paul, they might be looking to pair things up as well and try to play double bio instead. For now, though, Steelheart already opening up with a pull first. Hatchery gonna be there onto the low ground for now. And here on Rhoskallian, it's more straightforward. You just defend the ramps. There's nothing in behind. There are no flanks. The only thing that the opponent can do besides going to the front line is, at the very least, in the case for the Terrans, go for the Reaper plays or go for the drops if ever. Anyway, the Paul and Mizzle, safe and sound, go for the expansions. But Steelheart, he's sending in these links, and if both of these players aren't ready for it, this can actually hamper whatever the plan is. Team Tinnitus trying to keep on, but Team Cube already trying to get the ball rolling. And what is going to be the shape of this game? Second map in our set. 1 point here for Semper and Steelheart. And don't forget, guys, if we're done with this match, we still have one more matchup to go. Command Center though gonna get cancelled, and Paul, he saw the links coming. He didn't want to deal with that as of yet with a CC trying to be built. He puts it over to the high ground instead. It's still 100 below, so he's going down. And Mizzle, he loses the add-on along the way. Opportunity right now for Steelheart to get into the base, gets rid of this lone Marine, scouting on the round. The Reaper though will try to defend and will be able to do so. 3 kills there for our jetpack eunuch, and Mizzle right now trying to build the CC up. Can he actually keep that SCV alive long enough for it to be built? Steelheart though is on the hunt, sees that low HP state, and there we go with the shot. There we go with the takedown. It was so very close, but no cigar. And now Mizzle has to make a decision. Can he get back there with an SCV? Seems like that's the case. Finishing up the command center as we see Steelheart not even reinforcing that initial wave anymore. So overall, not a bad opening skirmish there from Steelheart whatsoever. Got the intel, forced to cancel onto one CC, stalled out the other one, and even got into the base and broke an add-on along the way. Value points for those Zerglings in the first place, and with that being said, he's able to expand in behind. So everything going over in favor of Steelheart. Semper though in the meantime going for the 1-1 expand before the start part, and now it's going to be set on up to really try and bring the tech on over. But same place and same space for Semper. Marines, Siege Tank, wouldn't be surprised to see Medivacs here. What's the case in point though for Paul? He's going to be trying to do the same. Might be able to go for the drops yet again. But now Viking to start to defend so far. Now the Viking here are going to be very effective between Mizzle and Paul. Interesting enough that we have Mizzle spamming 3 Vikings in queue. I think that's too many, because when you look at how the Vikings can be used here, not only can they shut down the Medivacs, but it can be used offensively to hunt down the overlords flying in the air. If they can really just pop the supply of Steelheart, it'll be a harder time here for a Red Zerg to help out Semper, and this might be an opportunity for Mizzle and Paul to come out ahead. But anyway, Medivacs being built, and Semper is the one trying to do it. Paul in the meantime still with the Vikings here right now. Mizzle though, keeping on, and will decide to go for the BC opening yet again. Bit of a gamble after the results of that last game, but he's still gonna try to go for it anyway. The BC rush though hasn't been the most effective thing lately, has been phased out in terms of these strategies because of the updates on the capital ship, especially on the tactical warp. But right now, Mizzle trying to scout around and try to micro with the Hellions, but to no avail because that siege tank able to get enough range in time to get the shots and to get those takedowns. Overall though, not the best there for Mizzle, but at the very least, he notices that Semper is coming his way. Will he actually get the call right that this is going to be a drop here? Because here comes the medevac already looking to push so far onto the right-hand side, trying to get in position, and Mizzle might want to get a warning sign checked up because this medevac is already here, is already ready, and is already going to be dropping a siege tank in behind. Siege mode going to be available, and he's going to go for the shock cannon there, and then Viking though in the meantime already going for the shots. And the problem for Semper is he did bring a full load of Marines. He's going to have the siege tank instead, but 7 kills right now. Make that send. This one-way trip here for the siege tank, absolutely valuable, and it might even take down a Viking along the way. There you have it. There we go with the cleanup. Semper still keeping the siege tank alive and gets 12 kills, and Mizzle did not expect that kind of result. That is just terrible here for our Green Terran. He could have defended there if he only reacted a little bit more appropriately, but that siege tank, man, that siege tank just getting so many kills. And he is just going to get crippled as a result. 17 workers right now for Mizzle. Has to keep on up with the mules instead. But Steelheart, he was getting kind of, he was getting harassed with those Vikings dealing with the overlords. But right now, the roaches are going to be in position instead. Moving over the front line, but Paul getting maximum value out of the siege tanks yet again. And say what you will, because Paul has done so much with this kind of setup. A while ago in game number 1, we saw Semper play a good defensive fortification with the tanks. This time, Paul is the one doing it and more. Mule though gonna be out and about. It seems like the plan of action here for Semper is to finally get that stim pack. None of these Terrans by the 6.5 minute mark ready with stim pack as of yet, or only one of these guys actually going for the research here and now. And does Mizzle spot this one coming? Doesn't have an inkling of what's going on by the vents right now. These Marines are set on up. And seems like for Semper, he's going for a second delivery. There is just no receipt into this destination because here we go with 2 loads of units yet again. Now Mizzle has been crippled before, and it seems like it's going to be the same case here and now. There we go with the siege mode again. One Hellion will go down. Semper forcing Mizzle to get on the way, and map controls seated heavily in favor of Semper right now. Team Cube also on the offensive in the front line because this is Steelheart trying to get to the barge. And the problem right now is Mizzle is going to be powerless to help out Paul whatsoever. He barely has the economy to stay afloat. It's all up to Paul to try and keep this one up. So he's going to go for the SCP pull instead to try and repair, but it's little too late again. And this has been the problem for Team Tinnitus. It seems like they just don't hear it coming, and they are just getting caught out with seconds to spare for Team Cube instead. Right now, this is just gonna cool new dimension of play here from Steelheart and Semper, and they have been very impressive on their teamwork. Drop lane right now, harassing and just really mashing on whatever Mizzle wanted to do, and Paul is just basically a bystander to all those results. Tactical warp again though, 7 kills for this PC, and we'll find out if we can get any more value on the roaches that can't even hurt in back. Still, roaches on the right-hand side. 4 SCVs now for Mizzle. And in behind all of this, we are just trying to see what else can Semper do. Combat shield being built. Hydralist in right now for Steelheart. Also in production, but Paul trying to answer back with +1 in the step back. But the timing attack ain't gonna happen at all because the time is now knocking on their doorstep as Semper and Steelheart are here overrunning the base. This might be it. Paul and Mizzle barely having anything. Mizzle desperate to try and get an economy on the low ground, but it just doesn't have any kind of production left besides the factory on the high. It's not going to work out whatsoever in this balance cruiser, though getting a bit more DPS yet again. But overall, this game looking pretty much over unless Semper and Steelheart make a big mistake. Now, the weak point right now for the Team Cube is Steelheart barely has anything into his army craft. might be an opportunity for the tactical warp to actually get some damage done. But for Paul, he's trying to still hold. He's trying to make these siege tanks count. Here we go with Bizzle right now, just getting the shot on yet again. And Semper, though, running out of HP for those Marines. They are going to go down to the laser batteries very, very quickly. Bizzle with a cleanup yet again. And this is going to be another shot on. But all about production right from Semper. He doesn't want to say that this game is over. This is all going to focus on. He's keeping the macro up. He's getting so much in behind. And he's even getting a third base up and running. This is looking really good here for Semper and Steelheart overall in the tournament. Team Cube proving that an underdog story can always happen. You got some familiar names, but it doesn't matter in the face of teamwork. And Semper and Steelheart have proved it here. Missile right now, though, with the Hero BC. 34 kills on this one. And there we go with the mules being dropped while trying to support his friend, his buddy, his pal, his commissioner with all the repairs and more. But it's just not going to work. All that supplies winding on down. Tactical warp to get on the way to try and survive. But that's just it. Seems like for Team Tinnitus, they don't hear the screams of their characters, the screams of their units, because everything is dying left, right, and center. Paul is trying to go for a bit more fortifications on the high ground, trying to get the double pump Marines, but it just doesn't matter. Semper and Steelhearts, gotta give kudos to these two players. Very impressive, very, very strong in what they've shown here. And Team Cube deserving to move on to the semi-finals. Seems like they will be facing off against Team Clement Rainer, who was able to win out their round 2 matchup as well, and forming our first semi-finals in the lower half of the bracket. On the other side, Team No Name waiting on for the winner of our next upcoming match, while Missile is just going to go for 2 CCs and dropping down at mules. But GG is called. The suffering and the pain has been ended. The Hero BC, it tried all it can, but it's just not going to work. 41 kills for the BC, but Semper and Steelheart will win out this match 2-0 on the other side. There you have it, ladies and gentlemen. A Hero BC is not enough to save the day, and Semper and Steelhearts are gonna move on to the next round. Absolutely impressive there from Team Cube, from the synergy in game number 1 to just a shutdown in game number 2. Timing everything, drops looking so good there on Rhoskallian, and Semper proving what he could do there. Steelheart in the meantime with the mutas from the first game and with the roaches in the second one, understanding exactly what's needed. But you gotta give props to Mizzle and Paul. They tried to do something a little wacky. Mizzle really focusing heavily on the BCs, but it just didn't work. Paul in the meantime still showing that his great micro, still showing how strong he can be. But when he is forced in a 2v1 state, it's just a little too hard to handle for a player of that caliber. Anyway though, Heavy Artillery Rhoskallian won out by Team Cube, and another 2-0 to wrap up our second match. We still got one more to go to, one more round number 2 matchup, and it will be our defending champions HD Gaming versus Bustik Tapal Yero Esports. Can HD beat down BTYE? That could be a question we'll find out very, very soon. We'll be right back, guys, for our last match of the night. Stay tuned here at the SCPH Dual Meets number 2 round 2 broadcast.